Hey, bud. How's it going?
It's going good. Yeah,
You're in Montreal.
I am. It is freezing.
No, it's just a little chill. Yeah, Josh is here. We are at the Freck Shop because I'm working out of there for a month. And Josh is in town because we're doing some stuff.
Yeah.
And we've also been up to a lot of stuff. There's been a lot of stuff.
It's been a lot of portrait stuff, which is very cool.
Do you want to maybe talk about all the stuff we've been up to since maybe because I feel like we've been a little quiet and then we did a bunch of stuff and now we're here. What's the recap?
When's the last time we did this?
I don't know.
We played here.
Yes.
Which I don't know if we ever talked about that, but
No.
we did like a little test kind of meet the band kind of thing for myself at least.
Yes.
Here at the Freck Shop
In June.
in June, yes. So that was a while ago,
Mhm.
and that was kind of hectic on my end because I think I had just come back from doing some shows, and then I did this, and then I immediately left again to Europe.
Yes, I think we've been trying to do stuff, maybe like real life stuff for a little bit. And I think I had the idea that we should just try to do a quick and dirty one. And
Yeah.
that's what that was.
Yeah, and I think like as a proof of concept, it was very obvious that it could work. You know, if we just if I personally just practiced more, and then that all kind of led up to us doing some bigger shows.
Yes. Once we did the June show, I think we were sort of ready to say yes to bigger things. I definitely would have pressured you into doing the bigger shows if we had the offer without having done the proof of concept. However, mostly because the boys are my boys and you didn't know them at that point, doing the test run show was a good idea. But yes, so as you said, we did that show, and then most recently we did some relatively big shows with Sungazer across some Canadian cities, and it went very well. I think it was a immense success. If I was to say so myself, it was perfect.
I've reflected on it a little bit, just like how do you feel about playing that? Because those shows were like fairly huge. How did it feel to play that big of a show with your own music?
It was sick. Definitely the biggest shows I've done like ever. I know you've played some pretty big rooms, but these are about as big as I've played. And I think for the first time in a long time, I was feeling a little stressed. I don't really get like stage fright at all. I'm very, very comfortable, but I feel like on this show, I definitely kind of took a bit of a in charge role. And in my head, like there's a lot of stuff that's on rails, a lot of stuff that just works. But all of a sudden, if something doesn't work, it's up to me to fix it in these shows. So I was kind of a little bit on edge here and there. However, I did like lose myself in the music a lot and just had it was mostly a lot of fun.
Building up to it, because you have the whole rig.
Yeah.
And you have the guys here, which we should probably mention their names.
Yes, absolutely. Paulo Max Ricardo on drums and Matt McCormack on bass. Absolute legends. Mostly for accepting to do the gig in the first place, because it's a bit stupid, but I'm happy that they were down.
The fact that they put the amount of effort even into playing the first show is crazy.
Well, I think it's just exciting music. It's exciting to be playing music like this in front of people, you know?
Yeah, it's cool to have the opportunity to do that. But yeah, so you were here with setting up the rig, setting up the whole show on your laptop, and at the same time rehearsing the band. And I was at home twiddling my thumbs and kind of...
Yeah, what the hell? Regardless of the specific situation, I definitely have the mindset that if I can't do it myself, like no one's going to sort of hand it to me. So for the past like year and a half, I did sort of start thinking like, oh, I'm not ready to do these things because I'm not able to just do them myself.
Yeah.
So since about last winter, I think I've been slowly making a couple moves here and there in order to just do what we did. Right, like
Yeah.
it looks, I think from anybody that like in at the Montreal show that knows that it was our first show ever, it looks like we just did it and it was no big deal. But I feel like I put the work on the front end so that it appears that way.
Yes.
Mostly like tech stuff, like rig stuff, which all the nerdy stuff it's whatever. It's just gear and being comfortable. We could have done this show on wedges and click to the drummer, it would just be less comfortable. But also, I think having been around this music and people that tour at a high level, progressive music, I think I see the standard at which they are working, and I just have zero interest in being below that standard.
No.
So not just in terms of the playing itself, but the quality of everything involved. I just wanted to do that work from the get-go. And also doing that sort of work and being this put together does legitimize me being really hard on myself and the people that I keep around me, and the band and whatnot, right? Like it's a bit stupid for me to be an asshole about playing something this precise if I'm not also like carrying everything else.
I mean, I think overall it had like how smoothly all the tech stuff went, how we can play these insanely complicated songs. I mean, fairly solid. Like
it happened.
It's crazy.
We played it. We played it very well. Very, very satisfied with myself and everybody involved that we definitely played the songs very well. Now, obviously, we're both very capable musicians, and we obviously wrote the music, so there's a bit of a thing there. But again, like Paulo and Matt, like the reason why I hired them is because I knew that they could do it, and I knew that they would be able to bring something to the music as well, right? I'm not necessarily just looking for a discounted Troy Wright and a discounted Jacob. It's I'm happy to sort of bring my boys on, because in Montreal I do find that I'm surrounded with really high caliber guys, and they're down to do it. So the team was really strong, and then all the tech stuff was really strong, and thankfully the music is worth playing at that level. I think we have a good quality product. I think the songs are good and they translate live, so it all sort of came together in a very well put together show. I think I don't know many bands that would have played these first shows and would have been hitting at this level.
Yeah, and like it's cool to just see, even though we wrote the music, it's cool to see it come from like to see it all happening on the internet and then doing it live and it being as sick. Like it was so much fun. Yes,
it's very cool for me to. I thought about this a lot, like on the drive from Quebec to Toronto. I thought about this, like how crazy it is that like the circumstances in which we wrote Traveler, and then playing that song in front of 600 people in Montreal.
Yeah, that's true.
Like that makes me feel really good that we finally got there in the end. Because definitely when we were writing Traveler, I was not in the best place because we were just kind of cooped up at the time.
Yeah,
and all I want to do is play shows. So I'm happy that we, playing that music in front of people feels very good.
Yeah. Yep. It's by far the biggest show I've played my own original music for.
Yeah. I'm very, very, I'm very happy. And I know that we'll do it again.
Yeah.
We just kind of, we're in the grinding phase, or the sort of, we're planning our next moves, whatever those moves might be. But there will be more shows for sure. It just has to continue to feel right. So that's what we've been up to, most notably at least. Other than that, we've been kind of slowly writing.
Yep.
But I think we're kind of hitting the gas pedal this winter because Josh is finished school, so we can kind of be a bit more sort of goal oriented and systematic about how we keep moving.
Yeah, there's like some random music that we started when you were in LA at some point. I forget when that even was.
I think we must have started music like right away the next time we saw each other.
Yeah.
So there's stuff happening. Maybe in the next year or so there'll be a single or something. We'll see. Relaxed timeline for now, but we're making moves. So, there's nothing else to say. We're working on music.
Well, yeah, we'll keep the rest low key.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so we did those shows. Then you continued on. You continued the tour of Sungazer because you were doing double duty.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was. I didn't know how I would feel about it until it happened.
For sure.
I think leading up to it, I was very stressed because it was just a lot to practice.
Mm-hmm.
I had like a limited amount of time to work on portrait stuff and the new Sungazer stuff leading up to the shows. And then the portrait shows in the Sungazer tour were not right away. We had a few Sungazer shows beforehand. Right, so I knew like once I left, I would not be able to practice this stuff. So it was a lot of slow practice, learning all the music again, remembering parts that were maybe not as clean here and fixing those parts leading up to the Montreal show. And then when we played the shows, like I feel like the portraits music for myself, I was just had so much adrenaline, and like once I got through it was like, oh, okay, now I can chill. And then we played the Sungazer.
Now I can chill and play the silly, easy Sungazer set.
Yeah, which is also filled with a bunch of tuplet stuff, but it's hard in a different way. I think.
Sure. No, that's for sure.
I think if they were both really complex guitar prog bands, then it would be a bit harder.
Yeah.
But because Sungazer is so much like more like improv and like electronic, it wasn't too stressful. So it was actually a great combo for myself.
Very cool.
Yeah. I also grew up like playing 4 or 5 hour shows, like 4 or 5 hour shows and like bars, and that would wear you out. This was like, oh, I'm chilling.
No, for sure. I'm familiar with the long show, but the long shows are never like guitar heavy per se. There's more stuff in the band. I don't know. The second there's another chord player, I feel like I'm chilling.
Right. Yeah. I think the bar band stuff was guitar heavy, but it was just all blues.
Right.
So
well, that I don't. I'm definitely not familiar with that.
You can play a blues lick or two.
I can play a blues lick or two, but that's it. No more.
Yeah, you're done.
Yeah. So okay. So you did those tours, and you continued. Then we met back up. We kind of did a 2-parter.
Well, you experienced NAMM.
Yeah.
I did not experience NAMM. How was NAMM?
It was a lot of fun. So we did the shows. This is a bit of a 2-sided story. So we intercepted for the portrait shows.
Yes.
Then after Toronto, Wednesday morning after the Toronto show, I flew to LAX to hit Anaheim for the NAMM show because it was the next day. And just until I have something better to do, I'm going to go to the NAMM show because it's always fun and it's always like a good thing to do for my career. So I did that, and it was pretty crazy for 2-3 days. A lot of fun, saw a lot of friends, did a lot of stuff. Had some beers, you know what I'm saying? Pretty nonstop. And then I crashed out and like didn't speak to nobody for like 2.5 days in Highland Park. And then I just lived my life for a little bit, and then we met back up like 10 days later or something after you were done the tour.
Yeah. So by the time I got back, you had been in LA for like a minute. You were hanging out there.
Yeah, I was. It was like after the NAMM stuff, I kind of situated myself so that I could rest.
Yeah.
And then after a couple of days of rest, I like started working on stuff and just kind of doing stuff around because it's very cold here, so I'm down to like rest up in a place that's warm. And I like being in California. It's kind of novel and fun, and I get to go see some friends and play some music and whatnot. But because I didn't want to because I didn't want to go to the NAMM show, I had to go, and then I knew you were coming back from tour, so we sort of timed it so we could kind of meet back up and then keep working on stuff. Sort of a post-mortem of the tour, plus some planning the next move.
Yeah. So you came down and stayed with me for a weekend.
Yeah, just like a few days, finished some riffs, and then I headed back here, and now we're on episode 3. Where Josh is now in Montreal.
Yeah.
we're chaining the seasons right now, but now we're a bit more focused.
Yeah.
At least that's the plan.
Yeah, we haven't actually done anything yet.
We've done some stuff.
I mean,
Josh just got here.
Yeah,
I just arrived at the studio, so we're gonna be cooking some stuff in here, which I'm very excited about.
This is the first official work
that we're doing in the studio.
Yeah, we went to the pant shop.
Yeah, we bought some pants.
Important business.
And I got the keys to this place an hour ago.
Yeah.
So because I have to learn how to use the patch bay behind me, I thought a podcast would be simple enough. We're actually running through two 1176s right now, which is sick as fuck. But yeah, so now that I know how the patch bay works, we can do some real sessions. Maybe we'll get a band in here. Who knows?
Do you think this is gonna ruin you? Do you think being surrounded by this gear for a month and then having to go back to viewing everything in the box?
We'll see. I feel like on the way in thing, I don't think so. I think what might happen is there's a really nice SSL EQ right here that I think that I'm gonna patch in my 2 bus.
You've talked about doing something like that for a minute.
So I'm really excited to see how that feels, because that's the one thing that I would actually spend a few $1,000s on a compressor to do. Like a lot of, I know Simon has an SSL compressor that he uses.
Yep.
So does George Lever. I feel like as an outboard gear thing, you either buy nothing or you buy something to go on the way in or something to go on your 2 bus. That's kind of like the normal hybrid thing before you get a bit too crazy.
Yeah.
So if I start feeling that it's really something else, I'll do it. But Nolly doesn't do it, so I don't need to do it. So there's a bit of a, I have to see what's sort of worth it, because something like this is at least $2,000-$3,000, and then all of a sudden you stop being able to bounce.
Yep.
You have to real-time bounce, and then I have to take notes of what my settings are for different mixes. Which isn't too bad, because I use a similar thing for most things, but then on the threshold thing, I do adjust. So anyways, it's something that I'm going to do here.
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't know that I'll be doing it. I don't know that I'll be converted. I'm a very convenience-based guy.
I'm honestly with you.
Yeah.
My whole setup and everything that I do is convenience-based.
Yeah. I mean, I love having an outboard gear and commitment and in the front end, on the way in approach to guitar, right? I love my tube amps and IR loaders and printing the tone and pedals and all this sort of stuff. But I feel like past that, it might be above my pay grade. Unless I start doing a lot of studio work, I don't think it's going to happen. Most of my studio work is for myself. I don't really get hired out to do sessions. I'm gonna do a few this month because I'm here, right? But it's not my day to day.
Could you see yourself doing the majority of your time that other people's sessions?
I think so. I think if all my delusions work out, and I tour and all my music becomes successful, and then I do the thing for a while, I think my music studio down the line in the house in the middle of nowhere with some chickens running around, all these fantasies that I have.
Think of all the eggs.
Yeah, exactly.
Every morning.
If all my fantasies work out, I will have my own studio. And then I imagine I'll be tracking bands maybe. I do love engineering.
Yeah.
I love engineering drums and vocals and all this sort of stuff. I do love mixing as well. It's always tough to see yourself doing that because there's so much shit projects out there. I used to record local bands when I was younger, and I quickly stopped doing that, mostly because there was never any budget, and I realized that I didn't have to continue doing things for free. So now no more local bands, But yes, I think I would like to. If I do all the touring I want to do and I decide that I want to stop touring, that's what I'll be doing. Because mixing is very fun, and it's cool to work with people that care about their music the same way that I care about mine.
Yeah.
But that's the thing that's rare. Usually, you end up having to hold the hand of the artist because they don't know what they want, and then you get into fights because you feel like you have a better idea than they do because they don't understand, and then it's not worth having these fights because the product is not worth it. I don't want to be put in a situation where I have to care more than the artist because the artist doesn't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of ego and thing there that I feel like I would have to learn to navigate. But yes.
So we both just got new guitars.
Yeah, well, you got yours first, and you toured with it.
I did, yes. So I got an insane guitar from Abasi Concepts, an ME8. And it's a particularly special ME8 because those guys know that I love relict guitars, which people hate them, people love them. I personally love them. I just think they feel really nice, and I don't care if I accidentally get a ding in it.
I feel the same. I love relic guitars.
But above all, I love the look of them. So, too bad.
Yeah, so you have the only relict ME8 in the world.
Yes.
And it's also a pretty unique color.
Yeah, so this one is latte.
Yeah.
Very it looks like sand. It looks like I'm in Dune or something. I can grab it.
Yeah, go grab it. You got it. You put it over there. Hell yeah.
Yeah, so this is what this insanity looks like. And I got it and then immediately left for tour.
And then when I saw you sound check with it, first of all, I saw it on Instagram and I was like, damn, that looks sick, obviously. But then I saw you sound check with it in Montreal and I was like, damn, it sounds crazy.
These pickups are, so these, you can't, I don't think you can buy these.
No, I think I think it might be a second Tosin Abasi pickup, like a second edition or like a variation. I think it's another Tosin signature that they're working on. But when I heard you play with those things, all of a sudden it all kind of clicked for me because I feel like I don't get along with the Tosin influences. I feel like in my Larada, even though I love that guitar, I don't play it as much as I would like to because the pickups are a bit too hot for my taste. I'm a bit more of a single coil PAF sort of dude. But then I heard that guitar and I was like, holy shit, this is the sound. This is the more vintage, more or less our output, single coil thing all of a sudden. And I got one. Basically, long story short, I got one. Let me grab it.
Yeah. So we have matching, the color's not matching, but we have matching Emmys.
So I went to the NAMM show after our tour, and then I was like, "Hey, Ivan, I saw Josh play the Emmy, and it sounds ridiculous." I talked shopped with him for a little bit about the pickups because I was like, "Damn, it really sounds vintage." And I don't know, he's a blues guy too. He likes vintage output stuff. So basically, they did. I feel like, from my perspective, they did it right with these set.
Yeah,
because I don't know that I could get along. I don't know. I've been dreading the 8-string thing for a while, and I think hearing you with that sound kind of made it click in my head, and I was like, okay, it's time. I can do it. Because with these pickups, I can main this instrument.
Yeah. So I also just did some recording with this guitar, and I played things that were maybe not, I could have definitely done on a 6-string, and I did it on this guitar just because it felt great and it sounded great, and I'm stoked about it. When I think some of the humbucker Fishmans, it's a different sound that maybe I don't always go for it with especially lead guitar tones. Because I'm a very single coil lead guitar tone person.
Yeah. It's I feel exactly the same. All of a sudden it's gonna work.
Yeah. I've also recently been addicted to fan frets. I think it's like I love the look of them and I love how they feel. And I'm at the point right now where I'm like, I want all my guitars to have fan frets, and especially all the extended range stuff.
Definitely, I think for me with the trem stuff, those can't have fan frets. No trem, because it's gotta be a Goto 510, and there's no way you're gonna get a fanned one of those.
That'd be so crazy.
I would hate it. But yeah, so I literally just got this.
Yeah, you haven't even really played it.
No, I would like to take a moment to tell everybody that UPS is a dog shit company, and that they absolutely fucking suck.
You have to bleep that.
But yeah, fuck UPS. But after having it for a week and me going down to the warehouse to grab it, I have this guitar. I'm gonna give it a little setup and a little restring tonight, maybe tomorrow morning, and then we're gonna get some work done on this, because just playing yours and playing this one, and with these pickups, like I know that I can get the sound in my head from it, which was the problem before. Like I was just kind of, it wasn't the right thing. So now I can do my Strat sounds with this, and then I have the extended range. And because the Bossy are designed properly, it doesn't feel like a surfboard.
It's crazy how good these feel with 8 strings.
Yeah.
Like I kind of don't understand how they do it.
I'm actually like, the more I think about it, the more I realize that I'm very, very excited to start to explore this range, because I really haven't. You've had the 8-string for a while with your Lorada, but I've sort of been scared from it.
I feel, so the Lorada, this is very different than the Lorada that I had, or that I have.
Because your Lorada was a Legion, so it was an import.
Yes, so I had the Legion Lorada, which I think is really great for the price that it's priced at. And
but we have expensive taste.
Joseph and I are a couple of a-holes, and we have very expensive taste.
Yeah, you know, the iconic guitars, the Sir guitars, the Marinas guitars, like those are, you know, we're both extremely lucky and have been blessed with some of the world's best instruments.
I also have that Bossy Space T.
Yeah, that's a crazy guitar. So, you know, as much as there's a lot of value in those import guitars and price range, and it's so great for the consumer nowadays to have access to those guitars, there's a little bit of a something that I get from these custom guitars that I don't get from other guitars. So I'm a bit picky.
A little fussy.
Yeah, a little fussy. And so, yeah, because, you know, your Legion is very cool. I remember when I saw it, I was like, damn, like, you make that look cool.
I made a lot of music with it.
Yeah, for sure.
It was great.
But there's a certain feel to, like, a really nice custom guitar.
Yeah.
And not that these are custom. I didn't spec this or anything, but, like, the level of manufacturing, I mean. You have to figure out what these do.
Yeah. I'll tell you at some point.
I'll tell you when you're older.
Yeah.
I'm going to put this down.
Yeah.
What is our writing process? I don't even know.
Oh, man. No.
I don't think the process is figured out.
Our process is that there is no process.
Okay.
So, you have some songs that you've written.
Yeah.
I have some, like, ideas of songs that I wrote.
I mean, my songs are not necessarily more than ideas as well.
But we both have some ideas, and they're very different than each other.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where we come together. And, like, for example, I have some random, like, 80s inspired things.
Yes.
And then we are working together to bring it more into your world. And then you have some stuff that's
a bit too much.
Maybe not a bit too much. Like, it's just like in your style, and then I have to dumb it down a little bit.
Is that really how you think about it? I definitely don't think that anything you're bringing to the table is dumbing it down. I think I might be compensating for my lack of songwriting by making it overly complicated. And then like I just have to figure out that like it's not worth it. Maybe the simpler idea is like more the way to go. But I don't think I listened to a demo of yours and was like, it's not hip enough. Fuck this guy. Gotta put these sick chords in. No, I definitely don't think that. I think you're definitely able to do more with less.
Maybe it's just in my own head.
No, definitely don't think that. I think we definitely intersect in a perfect place.
Yes.
I think I am going through a phase right now of trying to make complex moods with different chord changes. And I kind of, over different periods of time, I obsess with different things. And that's where, like, that's sort of what I'll bring to the table. But I think, like, if we talk about goods, like being able to write a good song or sort of take an idea and make it into a song, because an idea can just be 30 seconds forever until you kind of extrapolate the song from it. I think you're a bit more able to do that than me. I have a lot of sort of blocks that I come across. Like, I'll have a really strong melodic idea, and then it'll be a minute and a half, and then I can never figure out what comes next. So I have a lot of trouble with that.
But I feel like it's nice to be writing in like this back and forth way, because you can do that and I can like do that, where we just write like a block of a song, and then I'll be like, oh, I'll just write the next part, and then you'll do the same.
I've always liked collaborating more than writing by myself, because there's a little bit of a safety that, you know, my idea might inspire you and vice versa.
Yeah.
So if one of us hits a wall, the other can pick up the sort of, you know, for the next round or whatever. But I do still think that we don't quite have it figured out in terms of the best way to optimize working together. It's still a little bit of a shot in the dark here and there.
In my own head, there is no way for it to be this perfect thing, because it's also so creative that it's like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, I'm not going to lose sleep over it.
Of course. I think I mean more like in an avoiding burnout way. Like the way to, like, let's say we sort of didn't have any other responsibilities and could just write all day in the same place, you know, because obviously we live in different cities. What would be the way to continue working forever without burning out? You know, what would be the balance we'd have to achieve? Would we, for example, like I talked about this with my other band, because we have trouble writing stuff sometimes. So, like, you know, what if we had, let's say we're in a, you know, some cabin in the middle of nowhere or whatever, you know, having two writing rigs so that we can come together and do stuff. We can also like fuck off and not talk to each other, you know.
So I have a hard time writing with someone in the same room.
Really?
So, like, when we were working together, I feel like we had some cool ideas, and we definitely wrote some stuff when you were at my apartment.
We do hit a wall of that feels a little frustration, like a little friction. We hit some friction here and there.
And it's the kind of thing where I'm like, I feel like I could figure this out. I just need to sit down and just spend a day by myself working it out.
Especially since in situations like I might take over the producing role, and then you can't really sit down at my machine and have as smooth as of a writing experience, because it's not your gear. If it's my computer, I mean.
Right. I also don't feel like I want to sit down for one section all day with you just like on the couch.
Exactly.
Which is something that I could definitely do when I'm just by myself. So I think having this thing of where we're together in moments and we're separate in moments is really helpful for me.
Absolutely.
In the writing sense.
You know, that makes a lot of sense. I feel like it's the same for me. My problem is that if I don't have some sort of direction, I have a hard time creating something out of nothing. So like if you gave me something to work out or something to write something over, that's no problem. Or like, let's say we have chord progression or like a rhythm, then I can sort of extrapolate from that.
Yep.
But I think the empty space kind of causes a lot of anxiety for me. And then I have to like I have to pick something and work on it, which is why in my writing sessions, you'll see that I just have like a ton of like 8 bars here, 4 bars there, because I'm just like trying like things that would fit in that spot. And the second I find something that's worth working out, I then stick it together and work on the transition.
Yeah.
Because for me, like, it's a game of like, well, there's only so many variables. There's only so many things I could be doing in that next spot, especially when you get the odd time thing.
Yeah.
How many other ways can I make this odd time groove, and then I can come up with a part that feels like the B section or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so knowing these challenges that aren't actually, none of these challenges are big deals if you sort of understand that it's part of the process, but definitely putting some effort into avoiding frustrations on our part is probably more conducive to longevity.
Yeah. And it's not like frustrations with each other. It's
No.
like frustrations in, I don't know what to do with this part.
Yeah, no, I think we're fairly easy on each other in that way. Because we know, we know what it takes.
Yeah. We did this once.
Yeah, we did it once, so we should be able to do it again. But also there's a lot of pressure, right? Like you're only here for a few days. I'm only there for a few days. Like you have to alleviate that pressure by saying that like we'll get done what we are able to get done, and the rest we're gonna work on individually.
Yes. And then in my own head, even if we literally record nothing while I'm here, it's still super helpful for me. Because like we go through a bunch of things where I'm like, okay, now I know your vibe on this section.
Right.
You know my vibe on this section. And like when I leave here and go home, I have a bunch of different perspectives on things.
Absolutely. The brainstorming session
Yeah.
is its own sort of tool.
Yeah. And like when you're at my place, I have the idea that I was writing, the Prince on steroids.
Yes.
And that was only like there was like one section.
No, exactly. And I remember, I think we were messing around with chords for that B section, and we found the right chords.
Yes.
And then you just went off and wrote the great part.
But I just needed the chords.
Yeah, exactly. And it went to get, when you sent me that, I was like, oh yeah, he figured it out. Hell yeah.
Yeah. It took a moment, but I needed the thing where I was just by myself in front of a computer all day, and I just recorded that like little verse section, and then I wrote like a bridge section, and all this stuff was informed by stuff that we did.
Mm-hmm.
But even if I didn't use any of the random things that we recorded, it was all informed by it.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. I'm totally with you. I don't think I would be really happy and super, super surprised if songwriting ever became something that is obvious to me. There's no way.
I think you should like just hang out with more producers and see how these pop sessions are run. It's crazy.
I have. It's appalling. I don't understand it. But I might, it might be a similar thing where they invite people so that they can be inspired by those musicians. Like I have been invited to hang out. You remember Jordan? Jordan who did the synth parts,
yep.
who helped me with the synth parts for like Kaiwa and stuff. So he's a producer, and he just invited me to hang out. And then he was like, "Oh, I did 2 chords." And he was like, "Oh, yo, do that, man." And then we had a song.
Yeah.
Or like Cedric, he was like, "Oh, what's the inspo track?" And I showed him like a thing, and then we had a 4-minute song.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're just good at riffing off of seeds of ideas, and then they have the answer about how to do what the client or what the artist like is trying to do.
Yeah.
So that's where the skill comes with these producers. But I think for us, because it's sort of a self-loathing like artistic pursuit where there isn't another person, like I'm not working for someone that wants my sound.
Yeah.
We're like trying to push ourselves, making the music that we haven't made yet, that we don't know exists yet. I feel like it's a lot more abstract. Like I don't know what I'm trying to express with these songs yet. I'm figuring it out as we go.
Yep.
A lot of these, like that demo, the Zero Sum Game 1 demo, a lot of those moods I found that I was noodling until I found them, and then they felt really strong to me in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where that leads me for the rest of the song, I'm just uncovering it as we go. I don't have like a grand plan. I don't know what's going to happen. So So it's a bit, I don't know. There's a bit of abstraction and self doubt there that I don't think I'll ever figure out.
Yeah, I feel like it's all part of it. And then with this all, I mean, you kind of get used to knowing, oh, this is the process of it.
Yeah, I know that it feels like pulling teeth,
Yeah.
and that's fine. But I think that's why people like the music, because if it was if we just wrote what was easy, like I don't think it'd be interesting. Maybe.
Yeah. And I feel like because also we're like, it has to be complex in the right way.
In the right way.
Yeah.
Not for itself, not
Yeah.
complexity for the sake of complexity.
Which adds a whole other level of like, is this just dumb or is it cool? I feel like I'm constantly in my head. I'm like, is this the stupidest thing I've ever heard or is this sick?
It's always sick.
But like, that's the line that I'm
It
like.
only becomes the stupidest thing you've ever heard once you start playing it live.
That's when I get mad.
Yeah.
When I was learning the Portra stuff, I'm like, why?
Portra stuff isn't even that bad.
It's now looking back on it, it's not that bad. But when I was learning it, I was like, I'm annoyed. I'm mad.
It's all fine. It's all completely easy. No big deal. The new stuff might even be easier. Some of it might be harder.
Yeah.
Okay, you know how on Buy High we put the order of the songs to be like kind of poppy and bright to like darker and more prog?
Yeah.
We should order this next one by easiest to hardest.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea. It's actually kind of funny. Oh man! All right, I think that's enough yapping for one episode. Anything you want to say before we wrap up?
What do I want to say?
What's your name? What's your name?
My name is Joshua de la Victoria. What is your name?
My name is Joseph Anajar. We are in a band called Portraits. We got a bunch of music out. Got some leftover merch out. A link in the. I haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
I gotta do it.
Yeah. Maybe explain that real quick. We have some merch.
We have some merch left over from
yeah.
the tour. Limited sizes. And we're never printing it again, so get it.
Yeah. This design is done.
Bandcamp link. That's how done we are.
Yeah, we're not even setting up
We're
a
not
website
even setting
for
up
it.
a website
Just
for it. Bandcamp link. I will ship it personally.
He'll draw a little happy face
Just,
on the.
Yes, a little happy face in the shirt. Yeah, we're banding Portraits. We got a bunch of links in the description. And yeah, I'm excited to see what comes next.
Yeah, we're still before everything.
Yeah, we're before everything. We're pre-gaming.
Yeah.
Pre-gaming the next cycle right now. But we are not done.
Yes.
So we'll catch you in the next one.
Sounds good.
Peace.